So once again, let's talk about these batch timings and all. As of now, we just are starting the class at 8 a.m. IST. Maybe after 1 month, we'll prepone the timings to 6 a.m. IST. Okay. Now we are running the classes 8 a.m. IST to 9:30 a.m. IST. Maybe after 1 month, we'll prepone to 6 a.m. IST. Please notice these timings and you can plan accordingly. So the change will be there after 1 month. We'll prepone from 8 to 6. So in the very first session, we discussed about what does it mean by Oracle Fusion Cloud Financials application. In the second session, we discussed about P2P and O2C cycles to understand basic business flow, which can be executed across financials and SCM applications. Today, we'll talk
Hello.
about, please.
Yeah, actually, I was reading some article regarding this Oracle Cloud. So I seen that hybrid cloud. So is there any concept or thing like that we called as it hybrid cloud, or is there any other cloud other than these cloud?
Yeah, we'll talk about that hybrid and all in end of the session if you want to understand about it. Okay, it's not a very great information for us. That is the reason I didn't include. If you want to know about it, I'll just address about it. What is a public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud? Yeah, I'll talk about it in the end
Oh,
of the session. Yeah,
okay, sir.
yeah, fine. Okay. So in today's session, let's talk about what details we require to create the transactions in the system. It could be GL application, payables or receivables. Take any application. We discussed about P2P and O2C cycles. Within those, we come across with the different departments. Already we discussed for each department, we need separate application. Okay, we need separate application. So take any application. If you want to record any business transactions, what details we have to keep ready within our application so that system will allow us to create the transactions. To create any transaction, normally we have to capture the date. It could be purchase activity or sales activity. It could be any other activity which is related to business. We have to capture the date and we have to capture the description of the transaction. That means the transactions belongs to which company, which department, which activity we are doing, what we are purchasing, what we are spending or what we are selling. Those details we have to capture, nothing but description, and we have to enter the amount related to transaction. Say simply amount. So if you want to capture the date within the system, we have to create the calendar. We have to create the calendar. Okay, we have to create a calendar in the system. If you create the calendar in the system, from the calendar, we can take the date and we can record the transactions. If you want to create the calendar in the system, what we should aware? Say, for example, we are going to do the implementation for one of US client or one of the US company. Say we are going to implement Oracle Fusion Financials applications. If you are going to implement Oracle Fusion Financial application for one of the US client, how to create the calendar? Or if you are going to implement for Indian client, how to create the calendar? These points we have to understand. Okay, for which country, company we are going to do the implementation, accordingly you have to create the calendar. So if you want to create the calendar in the system, first we have to understand that specific country financial year. Say you are going to do the implementation, this Oracle Fusion implementation for US client. So you is the financial year in US. Okay, first point is we should know what is the financial year in that specific country. We should know what is the financial year in country. Say we are going to do the implementation for US client. What is the financial year for US? Jan to December. Okay, based on this financial year, we have to create the calendar in the system. Okay, again, when you create this calendar in the system, what is the period type they want to use? Period type. Within the calendar, you can have a different period type. Daily we call as one period type, weekly we call as a period type, monthly we call as a period type, quarter also you can take as a one of the period type. This is how you can have a number of period types, but reality when you look at the business, ideally every business uses monthly as a period type. So these are the 2 points we have to understand. One is year, we should know what is the financial year for that specific country. The second point is the period type, what period type they have to use. Ideally the period type would be monthly. Once you get these details, you can create the calendar in the system. Okay, you can create the calendar in the system. If we take example of financial year for US, that is Jan to December, that means we'll create calendar from Jan to December. If we take year type, okay, say we'll use monthly. Now, if you use the period type as monthly, in one financial year, you can have a 12 periods. Okay, you can have a 12 periods. You can have a 12 periods in 1 year. But reality, when you create the calendar in the system, you can create more than 12 periods. More than 12 periods. If the period type is monthly, okay, if period type is monthly, we can have 12 periods, Jan to December. If the financial year is related to US, for US country, financial year is Jan to December. If period type is monthly, how many months we can have in one financial year? 12 months. That means 12 periods we can create. As per system, when you create the calendar, system will allow us to create periods more than 12 when period type is monthly. Say for example, you may want to create 13 periods. We are very sure about 12 periods. What are those? Jan to December. If it is the financial year for India, so from April to March. We know exactly which periods are those 12. But if you want to create more than 12, those are additional periods. Okay, if you take an example of US, Jan to December will create, those are 12 periods. You can create additional periods. You may create 1 or 2 or 3 additional periods, okay, for the purpose of to record the adjustment transactions. Okay, the additional periods you can create in the calendar. Okay, the additional periods, whatever you create in the calendar for the purpose of adjustment entries. So in the month of Jan, what are the business transactions we do, what are the business we do, those we can record in the Jan. And in Feb, March, in the same way, say in the August, September month, in this current month, what are the business transactions we do, those we can record in the system within the September month. And in the December month also, December business transactions. When we close the books, end of the year, we have to close the books. When we are closing the books in the end of the year, if you want to pass some adjustment entries, you have a certain transactions which you are suspecting, you may get the payment, may not get the payment. Okay, you may pay, may not pay. There are certain accounts which you cannot finalize as of now based on the current state of the transactions and deals which you are having with your suppliers and customers. That sort of transactions you may have to maintain in the separate period that we call as additional period, that we can call as adjustment period as per system. Okay, so when you go with the calendar called as monthly, you can have a 12 periods. In the system, you can create 13 periods. 12 are real periods. The additional period what you create, those you call as adjustment period. The additional periods whatever you create in the calendar, those we call as adjustment periods. So ideally adjustment periods we can use to enter adjustment transactions. When you are closing the books at the end of the year, if you want to maintain the adjustment transactions the December, yes, you can use the December month. Instead of maintaining the adjustment transaction in the December month, you can have your real transactions also. If you want to pass the adjustment transactions also in the December month, you can maintain. Otherwise, you can have a separate period as adjustment period. So all the adjustment entries you can maintain in the adjustment period for a temporary purpose once you find out the realization about those transactions. So that is the reason you can have additional periods in our account calendar. Those we call as adjustment periods. So these are the points we have to understand when you talk about calendar. What are the calendar we create in the system that simply we call as accounting calendar. Within this accounting calendar, we'll create all the periods. For each period, we provide the date range. We'll create the calendar. Say if you are going to create the accounting calendar for current financial year for US, we'll create the periods like Jan 20 means 2020. This Jan 20, the period date range we have to provide in the system. That means 1st Jan 20, when that period ends, 31st Jan 20. Okay, this is how we have to provide the date range for each and every period. This is how we have to create the calendar in the system. By using this calendar dates only, we can record the transactions. Once you record the transactions with these dates, you can create the accounting also. Okay, if you are not aware of what does it mean by accounting, we'll come to know very soon. So that is the reason this calendar we are calling as accounting calendar. Whatever the calendar we create in the system for any company, that calendar we call as accounting calendar. Within that calendar, how many periods we have, what is the date range for each and every period we have to create. If you use the period type as monthly, we can create the periods from Jan to December. If you are going to do the implementation for a US client, if you want to do the implementation for an India client, you have to create the accounting calendar as per India financial year. That means from April to March you have to create. So the 12 periods you can have in every calendar. If you want to have additional periods, yes, you can have those additional periods. You can call as adjustment periods. Reality, when you do the implementation for any company, always we suggest at least one adjustment period. 12 plus 1, 13 periods. If client says we don't need any adjustment periods, adjustment transactions also we want to enter in the real periods only, that's okay, not an issue. But ideally we recommend to have one adjustment period as a buffer period to pass the adjustment entries when they close the books in the end of the year. And these are the points we have to understand when you talk about the calendar in the system. Any questions on this, please?
Sir, one thing, like you mentioned, like my primary ledger is having US.
Don't talk
right?
about primary ledger. 1 second. I'm not talking about primary ledger. You also please don't talk about it. If you have any questions on this, please. If you have a prior knowledge, that's different. Okay, let's talk about it. You and me are going to talk about primary ledger, secondary ledger. This will be unnecessary information for others. Okay, let's talk about calendar. If you have any questions,
okay, fair enough, sir. But my
1 second. When you talk about primary ledger, you can talk about primary ledger. Any questions we will take.
Sir, my question is related to calendar only. Yeah. I am not talking about. I am telling that there can be two calendars in a ERP. There can be two calendars. That is the question I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's that okay. One could be a US calendar and second Indian calendar, sir.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. If you are asking about calendar, I'll totally respect that question. But I'm
perfect, sir.
Don't talk about other stuff we are not discussing now.
No. We will talk on the point only. Agreed. So,
what is your question now?
That now adjustment period entry, which I am doing in US financials, how it is hitting, which period it is hitting my secondary ledger? Why I'm asking, because period on period entries are matching. That is why I asked you this question. So maybe you can take up later with GL, or you want to answer now.
When we are dealing with that concept, you can ask.
Adjustment it's correct, because period on period entries are flowing, but adjustment period entry where they will hit the second Indian calendar period if I am not defining adjustment in the Indian calendar.
Okay. When we are, what concept you are referring?
Sir, I am talking about the primary and secondary ledger reconciliation, because at the year end when the period is closed with the adjustment, that entries have to be reconciled between primary and secondary. So if in one calendar I have
One second. Okay. That is a separate concept. Okay. Where we transfer the data from primary ledger to secondary ledger, right?
Right, sir.
Okay. So in whatever the period, you create the transaction, those transactions will go to secondary ledger of same period. If you create in the John, it will go to John. If you create in the adjustment period, it will go to adjustment period. You know the secondary ledger concept, right? How it works?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, so it means both the calendars have to be same. If I'm defining adjustment in one, but the problem is that Indian calendar starts from April to March. So the adjustment in Indian calendar will be
doesn't matter. Period range can be different. If periods are available, that is enough.
okay, sir.
Okay. So better you see these sort of points you can understand when we are dealing with that. See, we have secondary ledger, reporting ledger, consolidation ledger, this and that. Now this is not the time to discuss about it. So no issues.
Sure.
Just your questions are valid, but not this is the time to discuss. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Fine. Please, let's focus on what we are discussing. If you know something prior to these classes, very good. But when we reach that stage, we'll discuss those points. Yeah, that's only my request. Yeah, fine. Any other questions here to understand this calendar creation, please? Okay, these are the points we have to consider. The very first point is which country. Second point is which period type. Adjustment periods. These are 3 points we have to understand. Any questions here, please?
Yeah, Lakshman, I have a question. So here you told based on the period type, like when the period type is monthly, then we are getting chance to add another additional period. So what about when the period type is weekly or quarterly?
Any
so
period
then also
type. Any period type
okay.
can have a additional periods which you call as adjustment. Say your period type is quarterly, so you can have 4 periods only. You can have additional periods as adjustment periods. It could be any period type. You can have additional periods. Those we call as adjustment periods. Yep.
There are many period types.
Sorry.
What are there? So how many period types would be there?
In one calendar, you can have only one period type. Okay. If you want to create one calendar, either you can use period type as daily or weekly or monthly or quarterly or hourly or semi-month. This is how you can have. But only one period type in one calendar.
And if I have 2 different countries and I'm using same calendar, I can still have like I'll have to create 2 different calendar for 2 countries, and there will be a 2 different period type is allowed, right?
2 countries financial years are same. One calendar you can use for 2 countries.
Only if their financial year are same.
Yeah, see, you created on accounting, you created on calendar from Jan to December, for example. Say for 2 countries, the financial year is Jan to December only. The same one calendar you can use for 2 countries. For 2 countries, financial years are different. You have to create the separate calendars. Okay, if same means one calendar you can use for 2 countries. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions here, please?
So, sir, we can create multiple calendar in system.
Yes, you can create n number of calendars. Ideally, country specific. Calendar creation is country specific. On what?
Okay.
Finance.
And regarding this period type, suppose we have defined as a quarterly, so later we can change it and monthly.
You cannot. It's a one-time decision. Okay, you cannot change it. See, generally what companies will do, every company will go with a monthly one. If they want to report monthly, yes, you have periods like monthly. Even if they want to report quarterly also, within that monthly periods, the 3 periods falls under 1 quarter. That's how they can go with the reporting. But calendar point of view, always we create the periods, monthly periods.
Okay, sir. One more question here.
Change it.
Yeah, one more question here.
Please.
Why actually we require this adjustment period? Because every transaction we are using date and calendar. So that transaction already capture in that duration or that particular calendar. So why we are using this adjustment actually? I want to know.
Mandatory. It is not mandatory. Okay, you just done the business. You are in the end of the year, in the December. You are closing your books. Okay, end of the year, end of your financial year, you are closing the books. You have some adjustment entries which you cannot finalize how you have to take into account. So those entries you can maintain the separate period called as adjustment period. But you may
how we cannot finalize those entry means can you explain some scenario like that?
Say for example, you have some bad debts Okay, you may get from your customers, may not get, and there are some user mistakes which are entered in the system. Those you cannot realize exactly this amount should be taken into which account. Okay, there are some transactions which are created, and where there is some balance in the transaction, that system will take into suspense. There is no exact account, it will take into suspense account. Once you have to find out the reality, this transaction amount should goes to which account, till the time you will maintain those into suspense. Okay, so that sort of transactions you may maintain in the adjustment period. Otherwise, if you think no adjustment period I require, you can enter in the actual period. So that's up to client business decision. So generally we recommend,
Just
if they want to use enter in the actual periods, you can enter, but adjustment period is not mandatory, it's not compulsory, we have to maintain. If they want, they can, otherwise they can ignore it, they can go with actual periods only. Generally we recommend,
just a
better you can have, require
Sir,
use it, or else it would be there, you can ignore it, that's all.
sir, just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
On that. So usually the adjustment would be done on a monthly basis for
Monthly basis
any
also
such
you will
things,
do,
right?
every month end, yes, every month you will do the
Yes.
adjustments. But again, when we are closing the books end of the year also, there will be year closing related adjustments. For that you can use.
So on that front, let's suppose you just take an example of December. So on December, you are saying that there must be some users or some customer who's not able to pay in that. So you do adjustment period. So that would be your next Jan, right?
No, not next Jan. In this year only. The adjustment period also belongs to this financial year only.
So there will be like an ad hoc period, because not all the customer would get charged or
temporary
adjusted,
purpose.
right?
No. Temporary. When we are closing the books, some balances you will be declaring this. This is falls under these accounts. These balance are suspense. Just to have some notes of information, you can use the adjustment period. That adjustment period also will falls under current financial year only. Then we will move to next financial year. Maybe you will move to next financial year 2021. So in that case, these adjustment entries and all you may reverse, and you can take into the right period after realization what exactly how you have to take it forward. Temporary purpose you will just maintain.
Yeah, okay. So this is just to close the books
Exactly.
for that year.
Just close the books and to
Okay.
keep notes related to that closing and all if anything is required.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lakshman, can you explain the Jan 20 on the period one? You gave the example, the Jan 20 in that under the accounting calendar. What is that referring to?
No, if you are going to create the financial year for current year, okay, what is the current financial year for US? Jan to December. So we'll create the periods like that. Jan 20, what is the start date and end date for that period? Next period is Feb 20, the period name. Okay, the start date and end date for that period. That's how all the periods.
Okay, that is year, I think. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, these all will create in the system. We'll see, but before we get into the application, let's try to get the basic information theoretically so that it would be easy for us when we are doing in the system. Otherwise, directly doing in the system may not help us in all this. Right. So that's all about calendar. Okay. So when you create transactions in any application, in Oracle Fusion applications, in any application you take example, if you want to create the transaction, you have to capture the date on which date you are creating the transaction. When you capture the date, automatically system will take that date anyway. The date will belong to specific period. The transaction will belongs to specific period. Say if you create the transaction with the today date, okay, September 3rd. If I create one transaction with September 3rd, the date system will take as a September 3rd and the transaction will belongs to September 2020. Automatically the transaction will belong to specific period and the transaction we can record on specific date within that period. So that's how if you want to capture each and every transaction related details, and which date we are recording the transaction belongs to which period. First, we have to create our accounting calendar in the system so that we will be able to record the transactions on specific dates or in specific period. Done. That's all about date. For every transaction, we have to capture the date and period. Now let's talk about amount. Okay, let's talk about amount. When you record the transaction, in every transaction we enter the amount. When you enter the amount, say for example, I'll enter amount as 10,000. I have one transaction. Okay, I have one transaction. I'll enter 10,000 amount. When I enter 10,000, what is that amount refers? The 10,000 or 20,000. Let's say 10,000. I'm entering 10,000. What is this 10,000? Of course, amount. The amount is which amount we have to specify in the system. The amount is related to dollars or rupees or dinars. Which currency? The amounts are belongs to which currency that we have to specify. That means we have to understand about currency. Okay. When you create the transaction, the first element is calendar. With the help of calendar only you can capture the date, and the date is belongs to which period. Every transaction should belong to specific date, and date automatically is part of the period. And when you record the transaction, within the transaction, the amounts what we are entering, the amount should belong to specific currency. So when we are going to record the transactions in the system, the amounts what we are entering, we have to address with the currency. Say for example, I am entering 10,000, 5,000 and 1,000. So now these figures are belongs to what exactly? These figures are maybe belongs to currency. If currency, again we have to identify which currency. If the figures whatever we entered, the figures may not be related to currency. If not currency, what exactly we have to address in the system? Say for example, this 10,000 I am going to specify with the currency called as USD. Cool. And what is 5,000? I may say that is INR. What is 1,000? I may say this 1,000 is kilometers. Okay, 1,000 is kilometers. If not kilometers, square feet or meters or score or marks. It could be anything. We have to address it. Okay. So the currency, whatever the amounts, whatever the values we are entering in the system, that we have to address with the currency. That can be USD or INR or GBP, AED. You can take any currency. If not currency, what exactly you have to give? So this 1,000 is not currency. What is the 1,000? Kilometers or kilograms or meters or square feet or score. Whatever you have, whatever you want to enter, that you have to address with that measurement. These all are measurements, right? This USD and INR are currency measurements. These are monetary measurements. USD, INR, GBP, AED. Okay, these all are monetary measurements. But these kilometers, grams, meters, centimeters, marks, score, these are not related to measurements. Those are measurements, but not related to currency measurements. Those are non-monetary measurements. Okay, rupees, dollars, and all monetary measurements. And other than currency, what are the measurements we have? Those are non-monetary measurements. Whatever it may be, when we are going to enter in the system, you have to address. Here we have to understand one point. So USD's INR is currency information. Okay, currency measurements. But again, USD we call as which currency, INR we call as which currency, we have to understand. Let's take example as we are doing the implementation for one of the US client. Okay, for one of the USA client. When we are doing the implementation for one of the USA client, what is the local currency in USA? USD. USD is local currency for USA. Now client is doing the business in USA. The USA local currency is USD. USD is a local currency. Whatever the local currency we have in specific country, that currency we call as functional currency. In which country we are doing the business, that country local currency we call as functional currency. Say we are running the business in USA, USA local currency is USD, that currency you can call as functional currency. For a country US, functional currency is USD, nothing but local currency. When we are running the business in US, you may have a suppliers and customers in other countries. So when you are running the business, you have a suppliers or customers in India. Then you have to record the transactions with INR currency also in our books. Now, you have a customers in India. The India currency is INR. So we are running the business in USA, but we have a customers in India. So we have to record the transactions in our books in INR currency. So INR is not our local currency. INR is local currency for India, not for USA. So when you are doing the business in USA, USD currency is local currency, INR or any other currency other than USD, all other currencies we have to treat as foreign currencies. Okay, here we are dealing with US, India, and so you have a suppliers and customers. You have to record the transactions in INR also. Say you have to bill to the customers who are in India in rupees. So in that case, so in our books, if you are going to record the transaction in INR, that INR currency we have to call as foreign currency. Okay. Country local currency, where we are operating the business, that currency we call as functional currency. And other than functional currency, what are the currencies we are going to deal, those all we call as foreign currencies. So when we are going to record the transaction in the system, ideally you can see these two classifications. One is functional currency, other one is foreign currency. Okay. Say you are running the business in India and US. Okay, you are running the business in India and US. In that case, USD is your functional currency for US. INR is your functional currency for India. For US, INR is the foreign currency. Okay, for India, USD is the foreign currency. That means one country can have only one functional currency. All other currencies we call as foreign currencies. So this is the point we have to understand. Any questions here on this point, please? Country local currency is the functional currency. Other country currencies for that country, foreign currencies. Any questions on this, please? No questions. Then what about this 1,000 kilometers and all? There will be business scenarios. Okay, we'll come across that case also. If you are going to enter 1,000 in the system, you have to specify, that is rupees or dollars or dinars, etc. So you may have to enter 1,000 in the system. You may specify that is as a kilometers or liters, kilograms. We have a some sort of calculations which you have to do in those scenarios. Other than currency measurements also we enter in the system. So these all the measurements are non-monetary measurements. Non-monetary measurements we can call as statistical information. Okay. These are currency related measurements. Okay, monetary measurements, rupees, dollars. This kilometers, kilograms, marks, etc., etc. All these are non-monetary measurements. Non-monetary measurements. These we call as statistical information. If you are going to enter any statistical information in the system, that we call as currency, but reality that is not currency as per system. Oracle says just call that information as a stat currency, ST8 stat. From statistical, they are taking first 4 letters stat. Okay, the prefix of that statistical they are taking stat, that we call as stat currency. This is not reality currency, but just we classified the specifications as a currency, that is a stat currency. Stat currency means non-monetary measurements what we enter in the system. Example, kilometers, square feet, Okay, score, marks, kilograms, take any measurement that should not refer currency related measurement. Other than currency, what are the measurements we have? All measurements we call as statistical measurements that we enter in the system as a stat currency. So we have one concept. In that concept only we use this stat currency for some sort of calculations and allocations purpose. As a point, take this note. So we have another currency called as stat currency. Reality that is not at all a currency, but in the system we have to treat that as a currency. So which information we have to treat as a stat currency? Non-monetary measurements, nothing but statistical information we treat as a stat currency. Now finally you can say, as per our system we have a 3 type of currencies: functional currency, foreign currency, and stat currency. Stat currency, reality, functional and foreign only are the currencies. This is not currency related information, still we call as a currency information. This is what we have to understand about the currencies. When you are going to record the transactions, you have to specify the transaction amounts what you are entering, that is related to which currency you have to enter. That currency can be functional or foreign. There is only one concept. In that concept only we use stat currency. When we are working on the concept why, how, we'll understand more detail level. For now, take this simple point. These are currency types we have to understand. Okay, these are currency types as per our system. Any questions on this, please?
Is it similar to units, currency types?
Sorry?
Like units,
You
measurements?
can treat as units, but here the name is stat.
Got it. Yeah, thanks.
Where do you
And
specify
how do
the
we-
currency
One point.
conversion?
One point. See, based on the system,
Sorry.
based on the applications, what we use, the names can be used differently. But in our Oracle applications, for this sort of measurements, okay, we use the term called as stat currency. In other softwares, the term may be some unit currency, something else. Okay, here we use stat currency, the name. That's all.
Do you specify any currency conversion here?
Yeah, we specify currency conversion when we record the foreign currency transaction. Say we are doing the business in US. You have one transaction with India customer. So India customer means maybe you have to do the billing in INR. Our functional currency is USD. In these scenarios, you have to use the currency conversion. That means when you enter $1 equal to how many INR? The conversion we have to create. When we are doing the foreign currency transactions, currency conversion rates we have to create in the system. Okay, we have many concepts related. When we are working on it, we'll discuss what are the types we have, how to create, how that would reflect. We'll discuss all those points.
Okay.
But now
Okay.
let's focus on type of currencies. Those are related to transaction. When we
Okay.
are dealing with the transaction, we'll discuss definitely those points.
Okay.
Fine.
And Lakshman, how do you record the units of the stat currency in the system?
Just you enter, okay, you enter, say for example you have a scenario, you want to do some calculations based on the square feet. How many square feet you have? 500 square feet. You'll enter 500 square feet and you'll enter what is that square feet. That always refers stat currency. That's it. You will give this specification and that you will use in some calculation purpose. We have a separate concept. When you're dealing with that, you'll come to know why we have to use, how that can be useful. But now as a simple point, take as one more currency type is stat currency that always we use for statistical information. How exactly that can be useful? We have to deal with that concept. Then only you can understand.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions here, please? Any questions here, please? Fine, no questions. So the first point is calendar to capture the date. The second point is amounts you can address with the currency. Okay, that could be functional currency, foreign currency, primarily functional currency. If you are dealing with the other country, like suppliers and customers, you have to deal with the foreign currency. Otherwise, primarily functional currency. There is one separate concept. Only in that concept only we use the stat currency. You don't need to focus on stat currency. Only these are the primary two currencies. This is also just have a note. That's all. Done. So to create the transaction, primarily these three components you require. You can call these as the components: date component, description component, amount component. These three components are important. For date, we can create the calendar. For amounts, you can address with the currency. What about the description? Okay, what about description? Okay, the description talks about the activity which you are doing as a part of business. Description about specific activity which you are doing. Okay, the activity, the business activity which you are doing. Say you purchase something, what you purchased you have to address. In case of individual, simply you can write, I purchased a laptop, that's it. But company point of view, you have to capture the information more detail level so that you can prepare the reports. Okay, you can prepare the reports. When you are going to record any transaction, you have to specify the transaction belongs to which company. Okay, you may have in your organization, you may have a multiple companies. If not companies, maybe one company, you may have a multiple branches. Okay, you may have multiple branches or multiple outlets. So that you have to specify, you have to say that it belongs to which branch, or you say company. If you have multiple companies, this belongs to which company. Again, the transactions belongs to which department, you have to specify. Okay, the transaction belongs to which department, you have to specify. And again, which activity exactly you are doing. You are purchasing laptop purchase. Okay, this is exact activity. Which activity? Laptop purchase activity you are doing. For which company, which department, you have to specify. Again, you may specify that you are doing in which location. So this is how you have to provide the details. Okay, this is how you have to provide the details. So this is what we call as the description of the transaction. Okay, description. Here, purchasing laptop, for each and every activity which we do in the organization, for every activity we'll have a separate account. Laptop purchase, we maintain separate account. That means we have to capture the account. When you perform any transaction as a part of that activity, what we do, the transaction belongs to which company, which department, which account, and again which location. It completely depends on that company, how detailed level they want to capture each and every transaction for the reporting purpose. Okay, based on their reporting requirement only, they capture the description as they require. Okay, so very primarily in every transaction, you have to capture minimum company and account. For which company we are recording the transaction, and that is belongs to which account, we have to give that is a minimum information in every transaction. Along with that, how they want to produce the reports, accordingly they can include other details also, maybe department or location, some other information also they can include as a part of transaction using the description concept. So as per our system, okay, say one company wants to capture details like in every transaction they want to capture companies, departments, account, and where the transaction they are doing location. So for example, they have a companies like, so the company code I am giving, they have a company code called as 1000. There will be some name for that. I am not taking the name, just I am taking the code. They have, say for example, few companies. Okay, or else say company name is, I'm taking ERP tree. Say one of the business is a consulting. And other company is other entity is something BPO services. So other entity is ERP tree, so financial services. Take the other three companies we have. And departments, what departments they have? So they have finance department, HR, sales, marketing, R&D, etc., etc. Okay, these are the departments. And what are the accounts? What are the various activities they do? Accordingly, they can maintain the accounts. If you look at every company, they will have a number of accounts. accounts will be in the thousands and lakhs. Okay, if it's a very, very small company, maybe accounts you may find in the hundreds, but generally even small and mid-sized companies also, they'll do a number of activities. For each activity to capture with a separate identification, they'll have a separate accounts. Okay, they can have accounts like say salaries account, some admin expense, some travel expense, payables, receivables, and purchases, what they are purchasing, what they are selling, different accounts, and number of thousands and lakhs you can have accounts. And locations where they are operating this business, the consulting business, where in which locations they are operating, that they can have, or else location wise itself they can have a companies itself. Say they have this ERP consulting in 2 locations. As a company they can create ERP consulting so and so location. That's how they can create. In that case, this location is not required. Okay, say they are operating this business in the different locations. Say they are operating in the Dallas, say Austin. That's how they can list out all the locations. Okay, so what information they want to capture as a part of every transaction description, that information, this is how they have to predefine. They have to keep ready in the system. How many companies they have? This many. How many departments they have? How many accounts they have? They list out all the accounts. How many locations they are operating the business, they can list out. When they are going to record the transactions, it would be easy for them to record the transactions. We'll give some numbering also for this company's departments. Okay, just I'm giving the number. Company 1, company 2. 2 means BPO services. 3 means financial services. In the same way for this department related information also you can give numbering. Finance department 1. 2 is HR. Okay. 3 is sales. 4 marketing. Accounts you could see in the thousands and lakhs reality. Here we taken few for our discussion purpose. 2, 3. And in how many locations they are operating business, they may take those as a information. For example, sorry. Now say they just did some activity, they spent some expense, some admin expense they spent. In that case, they have to create the transaction like this. They have to take the date. Date they can take from the calendar. Say from calendar they can pick the date called as 3rd September 20. This is how they can capture the date from the calendar. Description, how they have to write the description. So for the information what they want to capture, detail level for every transaction, we have that information ready. Now the transaction is happened in the finance department. So they'll take 3. 3 means finance, ERP3 financial services. And department, for which department they did that, in which department the transaction happened. Okay, the transaction happened in the finance department. Finance department means 1. What exactly, which activity they did. Okay, admin expense they spent. Okay, so you have to take account as a 2. In which location it happened, say in Dallas. So this is how they can capture the description of the transaction. So instead of taking all these details, simply they can take, for each company they have separate code. For a department, account and location we have a separate codes. They can select 3, 1, 2, 1. That means 3 means financial services, 1 means finance department, and 2 means admin expense they spent in which location, Dallas. So this is how simply they can capture description of the transaction, description of details into every transaction. Again, that is for how much amount, say 5,000. The 5,000 is what that you can capture with the currency, say that is USD. So this is how you can record the transaction. If you want to record the transaction, you require the calendar. For that you have to create calendar ready in the system so that you can capture the date, and you have to maintain the currencies in the system so that when you record the transaction, what are the amounts you are entering, you can address with a specific currency, that could be functional or foreign currency. And to capture the description, what details you want to capture as a part of transaction, those details you have to maintain in the system. how many you want to capture company, department, account, and location. Then you have to maintain how many companies you have, how many departments you have, how many accounts, how many locations you are operating the business. You have to maintain like this. If you maintain this information in the system, when you are recording the transaction, you can select those information, which company, which department. That is easy. That means you have to predefine. During the transaction, you should not create the companies and all. First, you have to list out all your companies, departments, accounts, and locations, so that all will be ready. When business users are going to record the transaction, simply they can select. Okay, simply they can select. Simply they can select, they can record the transaction. So this is the point we have to understand. Now, if you want to maintain these details, if you want to maintain the dates, we have to create the calendar in the system. If you want to address the amount specification, we have to maintain the currencies in the system. If you want to capture the description of the transaction, these details we have to maintain. These details, how you can maintain in the system? With the concept called as chart of accounts. The concept called as chart of accounts. To maintain all these details in the system, we have to create chart of accounts, COA. With the concept called as chart of accounts, you can create all these details in the system, so that when you are recording the transaction, you can select company, department, account, and location, so that you can write the description without creating. Just by selecting, you can provide the description, since we are going to maintain all these details as a part of chart of accounts. By using the chart of accounts, you can maintain the details of the company, which details you want to capture within the transaction. As per system, if you want to create all these in the system, we use some different names for this. See, these are the titles. These are the companies. For the company's title is company. These are departments. These are accounts. These are location. In the system, if you want to create these titles like company, department, account, as per system, these all we call as segments. As per system, the company you have to this title, company you have to create as one segment, department you have to create a segment, account you have to create a segment, location you have to create a segment. What does it mean by segment? This total data is related to our organization only, but we are segmenting, we are separating. This data is related to companies, this data is related to departments, this data is related to accounts, this data is related to locations, by providing the titles based on the relevance. Which data is that? That's how we are giving the titles. With these titles, we are doing the segmentation, separation. That is the reason these we call as segments. Okay. So within the chart of accounts, we have to create the segments. Like which data you want to capture into the transaction, accordingly you can create. Company to company, organization to organization, the segments can be different. Those points also we'll discuss. Reality, which segments we use, we'll talk about it. For now, try to understand these points. So these titles we have to call as per system, segments. Under these titles, we have the relevant data. If you are calling this title as a segment, this is company segment, this is a department segment, this is account segment, this is a location segment. This is how we call in the system. As per system, this is how we call. Company segment, department segment, account segment, location segment. When you call this company as a company segment, under company, what are the information we have, that we call as the company segment values. These all are segment related values. As per system, what we enter, those we simply call as values. These values are belongs to specific segments. These all are belongs to company. So company is one of the segment. Under the company, what are the information we have, that we call as company segment values. These all are department segment values. These are account segment values. These are location segment values. These all we are calling as segment values. These all we are calling as segment values. Okay. So in the system, we have to create the segments. Under segments, we have to create the segment values. So where we can create the segments and segment values, all we can create in the chart of accounts. Okay. See, chart of accounts nothing but this complete information is belongs to which organization, that we have to give the title. This complete information belongs to say ERP3 group. Okay, ERP3 group. So for this complete all the companies, departments and account location, this complete information belongs to which entity, which organization. The title what we are giving, that you call as chart of accounts. Okay. So why we are calling as chart of accounts? chart of accounts. This information is related to chart of accounts only? No. This information is related to companies, departments, accounts, and location. But why the name Oracle is giving us chart of accounts? In all these details, the primary information is accounts. That is the reason they are calling as chart of accounts. Otherwise, they should call it a chart of companies, chart of departments, chart of locations also. So out of all these details, primary details are accounts information. That is the reason the name they given as chart of accounts. Reality, this is not only chart for accounts. This is chart for companies, departments, and locations also. So, but the name is chart of accounts. So where we can create all these details, the segments and segment values within the chart of accounts. Okay, within the chart of accounts. Within the chart of accounts, we can create the segments under segment values. Let me explain few more points. If you have any questions, we'll discuss. Okay, we have to create chart of accounts in the system. Within the chart of accounts, we have to create the segments and segment values. Okay, I'm taking the same points here. We have to create chart of accounts. Short name is COA. And within the chart of accounts, we have to list out how many segments we have. That means which data you are going to maintain, the titles we have to maintain. The titles as per system we call as segments. Within the chart of accounts, we have to create the segments. So how many segments we can create and all, we'll discuss all these points. For now, let's focus on these points. The terminology you have to understand. Just I'm trying to introduce the terminology so that you'll be comfortable when you are working on the system. So under segments, you have to create the segment values. Okay, under segments, you can create the segment values. So chart of accounts, we have to create within the chart of accounts, you can have a segments under segment values. Simply, you can say when you create the transaction, okay, when you create the transaction, to capture the description of the transaction, we require chart of accounts. Within the chart of accounts, you can have all this information. So by selecting those details, you can create a description for any transaction. So on what base you finalize how many segments are required? Every company will finalize the segments based on their reporting requirements. When they are going to produce the reports, the reporting should happen based on which details. Accordingly, they'll decide which segments they require. So once they decide the segments, accordingly they can capture the details in each and every transaction. So these details, this chart of accounts, within the chart of accounts, you can have a segments and segment values. But where we can create the chart of accounts? Chart of accounts you can create in the system with the help of accounting key flex field. By using, we have one feature called as accounting key flex field. By using accounting key flex field, we can create this chart of accounts. Where I prepare this data? By using the spreadsheet feature, spreadsheet. Within the spreadsheet, I entered all the details. In the same way, if you want to enter all these details in the system, okay, there should be certain component that is accounting key flex field. Now by using the spreadsheet, I am writing all this. This is all I am writing here by using the spreadsheet. Excel. The same way in the system, if you want to maintain the similar information in the system, we have to use the feature called as accounting key flex field. What does it mean by accounting key flex field? So first you see the term called as flex field. What does it mean by flex field? Flex field. So field, what type of field? Flexible field. Okay, flexible field. So the fields which allows us to maintain the data in the flexible manner, that we call as flex field. What sort of flex field that is? That is key flex field. That means to maintain the key information of the company, okay, what are the fields we have with more flexibility, those that we are calling as key flex field. Key flex field means key information of the company. The mandatory information for every company, what information is very essential. For every organization, which information is essential? Their companies, their departments, their accounts are very essential. If they want to capture locations and all, that also you can consider. Very primarily for every company, every organization, key information is their companies, their departments, their accounts. So to maintain that sort of very important information, Okay, for what purpose? Accounting purpose. Okay, by using this accounting key flex field, you can maintain the chart of accounts. With the chart of accounts, you can capture the description. That's how you can perform the accounting also. You can produce the reporting also. So every company related key information to maintain, we have a flex field. By using this key flex field, whatever the data you are going to maintain, with the data you can record the transaction. Once you record the transaction, you can account the transaction related data, which you can use for reporting purpose. So that is the reason whatever the future Oracle is providing, that they are calling as accounting key flex field. By using accounting key flex field, you can create the chart of accounts. You can maintain the segments. Under segments, you can maintain the segment values. So later, with this chart of accounts information, you can capture the details of the transaction. So same information you can use for accounting purpose. Once you account, you can use for reporting purpose for the company. So by using the accounting key flex field, you can create the chart of accounts. That means by using the accounting key flex field, you can maintain the company key information with the help of chart of accounts. Okay, with the help of accounting key flex field, you can maintain the organization related key, primary, mandatory information. For that, you can use a chart of account as a concept. Within that, what exact information you have to maintain, accordingly you can create the segments. Under that, you can maintain the relevant values. Okay, so this accounting key flex field feature is available in which applications? This accounting key flex field feature is available as a part of general ledger application, GL. We discussed Oracle Fusion General Ledger, GL. As a part of P2P and O2C cycle, we discussed about what are the different applications we have. One of the application is general ledger application. Okay, one of the application is general ledger application. Within the general ledger application, we have one feature called as accounting key flex field. By using accounting key flex field, you can create the chart of accounts. Within the chart of accounts, you can create the segments. Under each segment, you can create the segment values. That's how you can keep this information ready, so that you will be able to record the transactions by capturing the detailed description. How many segments we want to we have to create, that totally depends on the organization decision. Okay, when you do the implementation, we sit with the client and we'll discuss which key details they want to maintain as a part of chart of accounts. They will tell us, we suggest. So that's how we have to work in case of chart of accounts creation in the system. If you want to create the chart, we'll discuss how many segments we have to create. So far, whatever we discussed, any questions, please? If no questions, we'll proceed with the next point related to this chart of accounts only. Any questions on these points, please? Any questions from anyone, please? Okay, no questions. Now, when we create the chart of accounts, how many segments we can create? How many segments we can create when you do the implementation for any client? When you do the implementation for any client, that totally depends how they want to produce the reporting as per their business. But as per the chart of accounts, Oracle is allowing us to create up to 30 segments. We can create max 30 segments within the chart of accounts. Okay, max you can create 30 segments. Okay, when you create the chart of accounts, system will allow. Okay, system will allow up to 30 segments. No company go with 30 segments. What is the reason and all we'll discuss. And if you want to create the chart of accounts, minimum how many segments are required? Okay, minimum, if you want to create the chart of accounts, you should have a minimum 2 segments. Okay, minimum 2 segments. If you want to create the chart of accounts to capture the description of each and every transaction, minimum 2 segments are required, but Oracle is allowing up to max 30. First, we'll see what are those minimum. As of now, how you can understand the point accordingly I'm explaining. Maybe after 1 or 2 sessions, you'll come to know that actual point, what are the other names you can give for those 2 segments. But now take the point as those 2 segments are company and account. Company and account. In every chart of accounts, minimum 2 segments are mandatory. Those minimum segments are company and account. If you are going to record any business transaction, the transaction belongs to which company. If you take this case, the transaction belongs to consulting or BPO financial services. You have to specify exactly which activity you are doing. The activity you can represent with account. You may not capture departments, locations, etc. But minimum, very minimum, you have to capture company and account. Those we call as the two segments are mandatory segments in the chart of accounts. Within the chart of accounts, without these minimum segments, you cannot create the chart of accounts. System won't allow. Even if you create a system allow, you cannot use it. Okay. First of all, system won't allow to complete the chart of accounts creation without these two segments. And Oracle is allowing us up to 30 segments. But same time, Oracle is saying, don't use more segments. If you use many segments, you will have a system performance issues. Because the chart of accounts, what we are going to create, these has to be used in all the applications. If you want to create the transaction, the GL, you have to use the chart of accounts. If you want to create the transaction, the payables, you have to use the chart of accounts. If you want to create the transaction, the receivables or inventory or purchasing or order management, take any application. It could be fixed assets or cash management. Take any application. If you want to create the transactions, we have to use a chart of accounts. The chart of accounts will contain lot of information, segment values in hundreds and lakhs also you can have accounts. When you are using this chart of account across the segment, across the applications, this chart of accounts has to travel across the applications. There will be huge burden to the application if you have a many segments or too much information. That is the reason what Oracle is recommending is don't use too many segments. Reality, business also doesn't require many segments. Why also we'll discuss. So Oracle always recommends try to minimize number of segments what you want to use. Okay, we have to try to minimize the number of segments what we need for our business to capture the description of the transaction. Reality, when you create the chart of accounts, the real-time implementations, we can see segments like 6 segments or 7 segments, or maybe most of the implementations will have a 7 segments or 8 segments, or rare cases 9 segments. Here and there you may see 10 segments also, but you should not go more than that. Some companies, we'll discuss with that business and we'll finalize as per that company reporting requirements. On what base you decide how many segments are required? Based on the reporting requirement. What are the segments you take as a part of chart of accounts? Accordingly, you can capture the details and system will support to report based on those segments data only. So when you look at the real-time implementations, we create segments like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For some companies, maybe 6, some companies, maybe 7, some companies 8, for some companies 9, some companies maybe 10, but you should not go beyond the 10. Maybe you can see some companies 11 segments also, but that we don't treat as a best practice. Okay, always you try to minimize less number of segments. On and average, if you look at many implementations, you can see 6 or 7, not more than that, on and average. Okay, so what segments those all are, those also we'll discuss. That we may discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay, but just take this number. Okay, this is how we create the segments. Okay, this is how we create the segments. So minimum 2 segments, those are company and account, and you can create max 30 segments, but no company is using 30 segments or 15 segments or 20 segments or 25. No company is using. So reality, we have to minimize the less number of segments. We have to minimize the segments to less number so that there won't be any burden on the system. The reality, there won't be any need of using the system also, using those many segments also. The reason why, the very key point is the chart of, when we are creating the chart of accounts, we have to finalize the segments which can be useful across the multiple applications. Say for example, in payables, we use supplier. When we create the invoices, we create invoices against the suppliers. When you create the transactions in the receivables, we use customer. Okay. When you record inventory related transaction, we use the item. Fine. Now, the suppliers, customers, and items you should not take as a segments into chart of account. Reason, the suppliers data you can use in the purchasing application and payables application only. Customers data you can use in the order management and receivables application. Item data you can use only in the inventory. So when you are creating the chart of accounts, you have to understand one important point. Within the chart of accounts, what are the segments you are going to take? Those segments should help us to capture the information in the most of the applications. If I take one of the segment as supplier, so that segment I can use only in the payables and purchasing application. Since I can use suppliers data, suppliers information I can capture, supplier details I can capture only in the purchasing and payables application. You should not select supplier as a segment within the chart of account. Chart of account, whatever you are creating, what are the segments you are creating here, that segment should be useful to capture the information in the many applications. Say for example, by using the chart of accounts, you are going to create the transaction, the receivables. When you are creating the transaction, the receivables, supplier details are not required. When you are going to create the transaction in the GL application, supplier details are not required. When you are creating the transaction in the inventory application, supplier details are not required. When you are creating the transaction in the HCM application, supplier details are not required. So in many applications, supplier details are not required. That supplier information is specific to payables, or you can say specific to purchasing and payables. The information which is specific to one or two applications, those information you should not plan to capture as a part of chart of accounts. So system has the capability of capturing the transaction supplier wise in payables and purchasing. So that again you no need to include as a part of chart of account. That's very, very important. Okay, the chart of accounts, what are the details you are going to capture? The details whatever you are going to give as segments, the segment should be useful to capture the details in many applications. Take example of company. You may record the transaction, the GL or AP or AR or CM or FA or purchasing or order management. In every application, you have to capture the company. The transaction belongs to company. When you capture the transaction, definitely the transaction will belong to specific department, because every transaction belongs to specific company. Automatically, the transaction belongs to department. In every transaction belongs to specific activity, that means you have to capture. So your companies are belongs to specific locations. In that case, locations may be useful in every transaction, in any application. But if you give the customer as one of the segment, so you can select the customer when you are recording the transactions in receivables application and order management application only. Okay, in other application, customer information is not at all required. That is the reason you should not take customer as one of the segment in your chart of account. So receivables and order management has a capability of capturing transactions customer wise within those applications only. So that is the reason when you create the chart of accounts, so how you want to provide the reporting, what reporting requirements you have, accordingly you have to create the chart of accounts. When you are choosing the segments into chart of accounts, the segment should not be specific to one or two applications. The segment should belong to multiple applications. Those should help us to capture the transaction related details in most of the application. Those only you have to choose as a segments. Reality, we create the chart of account with these different numbers. For some clients you may create with the 6 segments. For other clients you may create 8 and 9, 10. So this is our real chart of account segment number you can find when you do the real-time implementation. The next session I'll take you through what exactly segments we use, if it is 6 and 7 and all. I'll take you through all those points. As of now, remember these points. To create the transaction, we have to capture the date, description and amount. To capture the date, we have to create the calendar in the system. When you are creating the calendar, it is important we have to know the financial year for that country. Based on the country financial year, we have to create the calendar. And period type also important. When you are creating the accounting calendar, which period type you have to use, you should know, ideally monthly only. And when you choose monthly period, 12 periods we can create. Apart from that, if client want, we can create the one additional period also, adjustment period. Okay, it is not mandatory. Adjustment period is not mandatory. We suggest to the client as a consultant, we suggest to the client, better you can have one adjustment period. If you want to pass adjustment period transactions separately, you can use it, or else you can pass adjustment transactions also in the last period of your financial year. That's how we can suggest. And we can tell to the client, in future, if you want to add an additional period, you cannot add. Now you may not, your requirement may be you don't need your adjustment period, but still better you can have. If required, you can use in the future. No scope to add additional periods in the future. Once you decide your calendar with the 12 or 13, that only you have to continue with the entire life of that product usage. So that is the reason we have to suggest minimum one. Even if they says no, we have to suggest. Final decision client can take. So these are the points we have to understand. And when you talk about currency, when you create the transaction, we have to enter the amounts. The amounts you have to address with the currency. Okay. So when you talk about currencies, we have a functional and foreign currencies. The country local currency we call as functional currency. Other than that country, wherever you are doing the business, that country local currency is functional. Other all country currencies we call as foreign currencies. Apart from that, non-monetary measurements also we can enter in the system, which is a statistical information that we treat as a stat currency. Reality, that is not a that is not a currency. And other element is, other component is description. Every transaction we have to capture the details for the reporting purpose. So to capture the details of the transaction, this is how you have to maintain how many companies or how many departments, how many branches you have, how many departments, which accounts, which locations, etc. When you create all these in the system point of view, all these we call as segments. Under that, what are the details we maintain, those we call as segment values. The complete information, the segments and segment values, we can create as a part of chart of accounts. Short name is COA. The chart of accounts, how we can create the chart of accounts means with the segments and segment values, you can create the chart of accounts. Where we can create the chart of accounts, we have one feature called as accounting key flex field. By using accounting key flex field, we can create the chart of accounts. Why this we are calling as accounting key flex field? The information what we are maintaining within this as a help with the definition called a chart of accounts, that is related to accounting related information. To create accounting entries for reporting purpose only, this data can be used. That to key information, very important information, which you can use for accounting purpose and reporting purpose. That is the reason this feature name is accounting key flex field. Why we are calling it flexible? This data, all the companies, departments, accounts and locations within this chart of account, you can maintain with more flexible manner. Okay, how exactly flexible and all we'll see when we are creating. So this feature is available in the general ledger application. That means in general ledger we have accounting key flex field. By using accounting key flex field, we can create the chart of accounts. How we can create the chart of accounts? By creating the segments and segment values. This is what we have to understand. When I talk about how many segments we can create up to 30 segments. Oracle is allowing us to create up to 30 segments. Same time Oracle is recommending, okay, to go up to, to use less number of segments. Okay, if you look at your car speedometer, you can see 300, 400 speed, but we know how much speed we have to go. In the same way, as a future, Oracle is giving up to 30 segments. Okay, but generally Oracle recommends always try to use less number of segments. Reality, this is how we can create the segments based on the client requirements. What elements, which data they want to capture as a part of chart of accounts, those will take as segments and we create. This is the real purpose which we use in the implementation. And minimum segments are 2 segments, those ideally company and department. Okay, these are, and one more point is, you should not take any details as a part of chart of accounts as a segments, which details are specific to 1 or 2 applications. Whatever the information you are taking in the chart of accounts, those segments should be able to use in the multiple applications, then only you have to take. Supplier data may be required in the payables only, that you should not take as chart of accounts. Supplier details you can capture in the payables and you can create the reports, that you should not take. That means if you are taking any segment in the chart of account, that segment should be useful in the many applications. There are many other points also which you have to understand related to chart of account, that we'll discuss in the session after discussing what real segments you can take depending on the business. Any points from anyone, please? And one more point. One second. We done for today. We are not going to discuss anything as a part of today's session. If you have any questions, you can stay back, or else we're done for today. You may drop from the meeting. We're done for today. Any questions, please?
Sir, this optional, you are telling this supplier customer item, is it possible to keep them optionally in the chart of accounts?
You can keep, again, that will become unnecessary. There is no need of capturing these details. Even if you don't have these as segments in the chart of accounts, in the respective applications, you will be able to capture those details as a part of transaction, and you can produce the reports within that application. Even
So
if
the challenge,
optional, one second, even if you keep as optional or mandatory, that will become one of the segment in the chart of accounts. What we are discussing is that would be unnecessary information in the chart of accounts. Try to minimize the number of segments so that you can reduce the burden of the system.
right, sir, right. Question.
Any questions, please?
In the chart of account, if I keep supplier as, if I can keep it optional.
One second. Ignore that point. I said it's meaningless.
Oh.
Should not use. Don't go with that.
Okay, Lakshman, quick question. Is there any facility in the Fusion to define
I'm sorry.
subunits?
Get your question. Can you repeat?
So is there any facility in the Fusion, like, business unit, if you want to define any subunit, like, a certain part of the business you are dealing it in a different way, like a divesting or something like that?
Yeah, that concept probably we'll discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay, tomorrow session to talk about that business unit. There you can ask the relevant questions. Now we are not touching that point. So if I want to explain again, we have to go with different points.
Yeah, no problem.
You can write that. If you don't understand from tomorrow class.
Okay. Another question, like, is there any preferred tools to convert the data, like any
We'll
legacy
discuss in the
system
classes.
to-
We'll discuss. Yes, we have a tools. We can load the data. We have a different options. Those will go through our we'll come to know in our course.
All right. Thank you.
Templates.
I have a question.
PDA
Is the
template,
accounting
wrapped implementation, different we have.
I have a question in this accounting
Yes,
key.
Lakshman sir, I have a question regarding this segment. So
Yes, sir.
can we update or change the value of a segment, or we can delete a complete segment?
Yeah. So once you create the chart of accounts, within that whatever values you have, any you can update. Okay? You can manage these values. You can add new values within this value. You don't want to record the transaction. Those also you can update. See, after question, you can go on mute. Anyone, please. Okay, we are getting sometimes noise from you guys. Yeah, we can update. We can update segment values within the chart of accounts at any point of time. You can add new values also in future whenever you require. Possible. And whether we can add the segments or not, why and all those points we'll discuss in tomorrow's session. When we talk about this, we'll add some other points also. So there we'll discuss about those points. But now these points try to understand. We not yet completed related to chart of accounts. In tomorrow's session also I'll add few more points. Accordingly, if you have any questions, we'll discuss. Any other questions here, please?
Yeah, I have a question. In the accounting key flex fields, can we keep like a company, like with number of segments, like something company level, or can we keep a specific to supplier level, or can we keep like something specific to department level? These are mandatory segments.
No. Here, what you can do is when you create the segments, say you created these 4 segments in our chart of accounts, you can specify which is mandatory and which is optional also within the chart of accounts, not supplier level, so on, so other levels. Within the chart of accounts only you can set. Again, if you say location is optional, not mandatory, everywhere it is optional. It is not like for supplier it is optional, customer it is mandatory. No, that's how it won't work. If you make it as mandatory, mandatory everywhere. If you make it as optional, optional everywhere. That's how you can set. Yep. Any other questions, please? Okay, no questions.